Hi. Well, it's a beautiful day, as usual, though cloudy and cold. And today, I want to talk about your thoughts. How do you feel? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling sad? Either way, you need to reckon with that. Do you feel like you don't fit in? Do you feel like you're not enough? Do you feel like the world's just moving too fast? Or maybe that you're moving too slow? Well, maybe it is. Maybe you are. But whatever you're thinking is making these feelings happen, okay? Your thoughts are what's making things happen, nothing else. And they're not really your thoughts at all, they're the fake identity's thoughts, the ego's thoughts. So, that's the way it is. Or you cannot believe me and say it isn't the way it is. But either way, it's going to be that way. The unhappiness, okay, or sadness or depression or hate or anger or irritatedness, that's all suffering. And that suffering comes from your thoughts. Okay? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with thinking or anything like that. What I am saying is that this system, okay, which is your thoughts, okay, it's a system. It's not just one thing, and it is just one thing. But basically, this system is set up to make you feel good or bad, depending on what you do with what you got. And, you know, if you are doing great, then the system keeps you going. It thinks you're great. You think you're great. Everything's great. Boom. But if you're not feeling great, if you've been hurt, if you had bad things happen to you, then the system brings you down because that's what it does. You have a story, which is the story of your life, and it plays in your head all the time. Okay? And this story is basically a list of all the things you failed at and all the things you haven't failed at and everything else that's gone on in your life. All the emotion storms, all the bad thoughts about other people. Okay? It's all in there. So basically, that's what's going on. And this story, okay, is what you think your life is. Okay? So, that's the problem. This story is not what you think it is, not what your life is. You just think it is. Okay? And if you have a chance to, you'll tell the story to other people because that's what you do. Okay? And so this story is what you think your life is all about. Okay? But it's not. It's a lie. It's not that about that at all. Because if you think that that story is you, then you're missing the big picture. And what is the big picture? The big picture is that you're not you. You are a soul. And as long as you think that you are a story, okay, or a bunch of memories, then you're going to suffer. You're going to be unhappy. That's the way it is. So, how do we stop this from happening? By accepting what is. And that's just the way it is. Okay? Whatever your story is, doesn't matter. Okay? Because it's just a story of the memories that you've accomplished, accreted throughout your life. Okay? What matters is getting a connection to God. Okay? That's what matters. If you don't have a connection to God, no matter what your life story is, you're going to be unhappy because the world is terrible. I mean, look at what just happened. Trump got reelected. It's going to be an interesting time, you know, which is fine. But the point I'm trying to make here is that you are important, okay? Because you are not a story, okay? You are an extension of God. That's who you are. And if you believe that you're a story, then you're going to be feeling bad. Okay? And your story, whether it's good or bad, and mostly they're bad. Okay? That's the way it is only going to keep bringing you down. Now, I don't know anything about your story, but I can imagine that it's your memories, your timeline, what happened to you, what you did, and so on and so forth. Okay? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with having a story. What's not fine is making it your whole life, making it part of you. These things are attachments. Your story is an attachment to the past. Okay? Just like your memories are an attachment to the past. As long as you keep clinging to your story, okay, then you are going to suffer. Okay? Now, I know it's hard. It's hard to realize or even to believe that you might not be you. Okay? Because that's just the way it is. It's hard. But once you accept what is, it gets a lot easier. You know, you were raised to believe one thing. And I'm telling you something that's completely different. Okay? So, that's just the way it is. And if you feel, okay, that I'm wrong, or believe that I'm wrong, then you're never going to be able to accept until you have enough suffering. And it's amazing the way suffering will change you, okay? Enough suffering and you will change, okay? But I don't want you to have all that suffering. I want you to have no more suffering starting right now. Simply believe that you are a soul. Just do it. Just believe it. Close your eyes and say, I am a soul. I don't know if that's actually going to have any effect, but it's a start. Okay? Anyway. Try. Try to imagine that you are a soul. Try to imagine that you are not this person. Okay? I mean, there's a lot of things about being human that's good, but there's a lot of things about being human that's not good. Right? I mean, yeah. Okay? And so, what we want to do is get rid of the not good and keep the good. Right? But we can't do that because it's all been programmed and conditioned into us. Okay? Only when we break the programming, okay, and slough off the conditioning, okay, can we be free. Freedom is all that matters. Everything else is just bullshit. Having money, having a house, having a car, having whatever, it's all nothing, okay, because it's not going to make you happy. What is going to make you happy? God. That's what. God's love raining down on you all day long because you have awakened. That's it. Okay? You can have the love of people, and that brings God's love into you like a little trickle, okay? God's love coming down on you is not a trickle, okay? So you can either have that love, which is a great thing, okay? I'm not saying it's bad. Or you can have a waterfall of love, a trickle of love from loving another person. Just a trickle, that's all, okay? But when you open the gates, okay, to God, it's a downpour, okay? And you don't need to have that person. It's great to have that person. I'm not saying you don't need him, but you will have enough love and you'll be happy with that and it won't matter. Okay? I mean, I would love to have, a person to share my love with, but that hasn't happened, so that's the way it is. And I have to be okay with what is, because if I'm not, then I'm in suffering. You don't want to be in suffering, okay? And you are in suffering. You're complaining. I met a man once who complained about his health. And that's all he did every day. He complained about his health. Okay? And I met a man once who complained about his legs. How they ached at night and how they felt weird in the morning and everything else. Okay? And I met a man who complained about his feet. Okay? And all of them had something in common. They were trapped. Okay? Whether the feet hurt, whether the legs hurt, whether the body hurts, it really doesn't matter. If you're trapped in that pain, which they were trapped in the pain, then you will suffer. That is the way it is. There can be no other way. Okay? And that pain, which Eckhart Tolle calls a pain body, okay, is with you. You can't escape it because you think it's you. As long as you think something that's you is not you, you're going to suffer, okay? We believe that our houses and our clothes, our cars and our people are part of us, right? And we believe that the land is part of us. I was born on this land. My grandpappy was born on this land. It's part of me. Okay? Because that's what we do. Okay? Because the ego is the one in control, and it wants to have things bigger. It wants to be big, and it wants to make you big. And if it can't make you big because of whatever reason, then it's going to make you small. Not on the outside, but on the inside. Okay? So there's a very simple way to accept what's going on, and that is just to believe that you are not a soul. You are not a person. Believe it. Okay? You are a soul. That is what you are. If you continue to believe in this person, okay, and the personality and the psychological factors that you go see your therapist about, okay, you're never going to feel good about yourself because you're believing in something that doesn't exist. Okay? It doesn't exist because it never was. You, as a soul, were born into this life. And you, as a soul, will continue to exist far beyond this life. You will go into the formless dimension and become part of God. That is what your destiny is. You want to have a destiny of somebody who's going to live a certain number of years and then they're going to die? Is that what you want? Because that's what you have. Maybe medical science will increase lifespan to 100 or 200 or whatever it is. But eventually, regardless of whatever they do, you will die. But your soul will never die. All you have to do is accept. Accept that you are not you. I know this is all hard stuff to try and understand and get. But if you continue to feel like you're you, then you are going to suffer. All these attachments that I've been talking about, okay? Whether it's your story, your memories, and everything else that's attached to you, okay? Not only are you holding on to it, not only are you clinging that attachment toward yourself more, okay? But it's doing the same thing. It's pulling you in and deeper, okay? That's what's going on. And eventually, yeah, your life is meaningless because you don't have a connection to God. That's it. Or you think you don't. You do have a connection. Everyone on earth has a connection to God. The frogs, the birds, everything. Okay? The trees, the grass. But we humans don't know that. And you know why we don't know it? Because of thinking. You know? I mean, when you're a kid, you're 4 years old, okay? You hear people talking at you all the time, and you are told that they're thinking and that they're saying what they're thinking. Okay, and then you get to 5 and 6, and you start thinking yourself. Okay? And so on and so on. That's how you're programmed into thinking these things, which aren't true. And as long as you're holding on to part of yourself which isn't you, then you're going to be unhappy. I mean, I don't know everything. But I do know that unhappiness is part of the human condition. And in order to make this life good and not a living hell, okay? Which for so many people, that's exactly what it is. Okay? And they pray for it, oblivion. Right? That's what they do. Because it's such a miserable existence. And I know you know that. You know how miserable it is because you've experienced it. Okay? And it's time to believe that you are a soul. Once you believe that you're a soul, once you believe it, once you cast aside this flesh and look deep within to your soulness, that's pretty powerful. And you will have freedom. Freedom from feeling the guilt and the shame. Freedom from being a toy of your memories. Freedom from all these different things. And why is freedom so good? It's because you can do whatever you want. You're not forced into something by your own brain. Right? For instance, you say, oh, I'd love to be able to play the guitar. But your brain's going, it's hard. It hurts. Your fingers hurt. And you go, oh, yeah, that's right. I guess I won't be able to play the guitar. Okay? That's what happens. Or you want to dance. You want to be a dancer. Okay? And your brain says, oh, it's too hard. You can't do it. Your feet are too weak. Or whatever it is. Okay? Or you're too old. You should have started when you were 2 or 3. Okay? Everything you want to do is just thought of as being something you can't do. That's just the way it is. Okay? And that's true for just a whole slew of stuff. Okay? You want to be a motorcycle racer? Yeah, let's be a motorcycle racer. But wait a minute. What about death? You fear the unknown. That's what you fear. You fear what you don't understand. Okay? And death is not understandable to you because it's scary. Right? The end. And so anything involving something that might be death scares you into not doing it. So how do the motorcycle racers do it? They say, I don't give a shit. Let the death come. That's what it is. Okay. As you can see, it's night here, and it's a little bit cold. But it doesn't matter to me how cold it is, because I have warmth in my heart, the warmth of God. Because there is a window in me to God. And I can feel Him reaching out to me. And I'm reaching into Him. That is what being awake is all about. There is nothing else beyond that. Okay? I mean, I know that, a lot of people have a lot of different ideas, but that's what it's about. If you don't believe in God, then I suppose you think it's something else. But if you want to be happy, okay, which I think everybody does want to be happy, then you need to let go of these things that aren't you. They're not you. Okay? That's just the way it is. I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything. That's just the way it is. Okay? And, that's the way it goes. So try to believe, try to imagine and then believe who you really are. Okay? And if you do imagine it, just step out of this body, step out of this person. Just step in your mind and look back, and you see the flesh fall to the floor, and you look down and you see your soulness. Right? I mean, that's what will happen. Okay? I have a kitty cat here. Anyway. Yeah, this place is open to any kind of critter that wants to walk by, and that was a kitty cat. Anyway. So try to accept that you are a soul. Try to understand that this person is a trick. Okay? Just a trick that was laid upon you without your knowledge. You didn't know what they were making you into. You thought it was whatever. Okay? And just like your parents didn't know what they were making them into, and so on and so forth. But this thing is just continuing onward, and everyone who's being born is slowly being programmed and conditioned to believe the same thing. That's why there's war. And that's not really what I'm here to say about that war is happening right now. What I'm really here to say is that try to accept what is. Okay? That's all. I'm sorry you've had a few bad things happen to you. I'm sorry that you've had these things happen to you. But as you continue to stew in the bad things, which you do, right? Whenever they come up, you stew in that. And the emotions come up, and you stew in that. And it just slowly sinks further and further into you. Right? I mean, that's what it is. That's what I have felt in my life. And I'm sure you've felt it in yours. These things are not what we think they are. Okay? And as long as you continue to believe that you are something other than a soul, you're going to be unhappy. So just try to imagine being a soul, an immortal being. And try to let go of all these things that just aren't you. Well, I guess that's enough for me today. Your story is your ticket to being unhappy. Your story is a way for you to stew in the past, a way for you to spend your energy on the past. Because you keep thinking about it, you keep talking about it. Don't you? Yeah, you do. So let it go, along with everything else that is holding you back and down. All right, well, I gotta go, I guess. I love you all because you're me. There's no difference between me and you and me and God and me and that guy over there or the plants over there, the fox sitting in the moonlight. There's no difference between any of us because we're all one thing. And that's God. And as long as we don't think we're one thing, as long as we think we're many, many things, then we're not going to be able to live a life of goodness and fulfillment because we're always going to be trapped behind these things. I know I've said this before, and I probably repeat myself a lot in these videos, and I'm sorry about that. But I just want people to start seeing the truth and the fact that the lies have been pulled over your eyes. All right. Have a great